What's going on, everyone? Andres Cambo here. I am the host of the Ponytails podcast. Thanks for listening. If this is your first time, I'll give you some quick pre-approach on the show, and then we can get started. A little bit about what we do. So we interview people who sold books door to door for a company called Southwestern Advantage, who's recruited college kids since 1868 to go do this crazy job. You heard that right. Door to door, selling books in the internet era, which is kind of bananas. But what's really great about it and what makes the show so unique and fun is that all of our guests have done this program 80 hours a week during the summers in their college years, door to door, selling books, sometimes with not even a place to live set up yet in a different part of the country. So you can imagine the stories that come out of that experience. We've had guests here from that sold in 1968, and we've had people who sold as recently as this last summer. So that is no different than my guest today, Alex Holbeck, who sold for 5 summers, part of the JYD organization. He's currently working with one of the sister companies of the company that we sold books with. So we'll get some of that, get to hear about how that process works. He sold from the years of 2018 to 2022, went to the University of North Dakota, and is originally from Plymouth, Minnesota. Now, we ask everyone here what their favorite scroll from the Augmendino book was, and his is number 2, I Will Greet This Day with Love in My Heart. What a wonderful one. I mean, honestly, it's probably the best one, but who knows? Anyway, when I come back, I'll be on with Alex. What up?
Hey, how's it going?
Dude, it's going great. You know what I just realized? This is the last episode we were recording this year.
Last one in 2022, baby.
Let's go. Hell yeah. So
Save the best for last, right?
That's exactly right. Now you're not airing until like mid-January, but you're the last recorded one. So we are going on it on a bang. I got some whiskey.
Hey.
Let's go. All right, let me pour some of this. Dude, nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, dude. Happy to be here. Been listening for a while now.
Have you really?
Yeah. I mean, ever since probably my 3rd summer, I've been just popping in. I'm like, oh, that person I really like, or oh, I've heard of him. So it's like definitely not the fanboy, but I've definitely been listening to a good amount of them.
So you don't have a Ponytails tattoo on your butt cheek or something?
Not yet. Maybe Bizzler.
Could. You know what we're gonna do? You just give me an idea. First of all, hilarious. Thanks for mentioning Bizzler, because you should come. I'm excited to see you. It's gonna be in Jamaica this year. But you know what? I'll do this. I'll say this right now. Maybe this is how we do it. I will get a Ponytails podcast tattoo on my ass cheek if we have 100 rooms booked for this next Bizzler.
I think that's doable.
So I'm going to do it. I think that we're going to give the crowd what they want, which is not my ass cheeks. It's just something crazy to happen because of a competition, which, as we all know, book people for sure do that. Yeah. And I swear it now to you, sir. Cheers to you. Look at all this whiskey. So cheers to you. Thanks for listening. I'm glad it's fun when people come on the show and they've heard the show quite a bit because they know what to expect. And so let's jump in. So, all right, man. So you just got done with your last summer. We've been having some people who just got done this last summer. Last year we had an Jam, of course, and it's very interesting. I was talking to Paul Tyndall, who also just got done with his last summer. I always like to ask why now? Why not next year? And why not last summer was your last summer, but why 2022?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I feel like, 5 years doing it too. Ever since I started freshman year, I was like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my college years. After getting selected back for my 2nd summer, it's like great internship, grew a lot. And, I got summers to kill, But the real thing was kind of going into full-timing and, kind of get my butt kicked a little full-timing. That was a little tough. It's just a whole nother aspect of recruiting, communicating, and everything. And I was like, I really wanted to try that. So I did decent, learned a ton, didn't bring out, I brought out one person, but definitely was a huge growth for me. And I was just like, I've kind of gotten to do a good amount of stuff in the company. I was just
Yeah.
ready to move on to something different, but it's very similar at the same time.
Yeah, no, I mean, sales is always going to be you can always trace it back to your first sales job and even be like, I see the commonalities for sure. Um, would you say that full time was harder than selling books door to door, or what? Like, which one would you say was the most challenging?
Yeah, definitely full timing. Just one thing with me, I took a lot of it emotionally, like personal. I'm like, man, they're not like they're bailing on the day twos, they're bailing on the day ones, and I'm like, what the heck? I did something wrong, even though I did that a lot in my first summer. But I feel like full timing was definitely a lot harder. One, just because it was a lot more like personal, and I was never really the most confident person talking with peers, so that was a huge kind of just like, all right, throw me outside of my comfort zone. But yeah, definitely a lot tougher.
It's I feel like full timing has to be. I feel like that's probably the sentiment of most book people, man. Because I mean, I full time one time before my fourth summer, and it's brutal. Not like Southwestern selling books door to door is more brutal from the physical. Well, I don't know even if that's true, but from there's like something different. Like the part of it that is harder is way harder than full timing, right? The schedule, like the fact that you're only concentrating on one thing, and you're supposed to try to only concentrate on one thing for that long. There's some aspects, but from the aspect of full timing, what you just said, I think is the hardest part is you're talking to people you're going to see again
Hmm.
around.
Yeah.
Like if some mom yells at you, you're like, whatever, even if I get kicked out of this town, I'm going to go to a different town. Never going to see that lady in my life ever again. But when you're full timing, you're sitting there in January and it's like this. It's like a cute girl that you're interviewing, and you're like, okay, stay professional. Don't say something stupid. Then you say something stupid because you're new. And then they're like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. And then you see them at the Dunkin' Donuts at the food, like at the Union or whatever again.
Mhm.
And you're like, right. Or it's like you're talking to an athlete and you're intimidated because they're an athlete and they have this swagger that you're like, you're a little overconfident, but that's okay. And then they run you down. They're like, this is a stupid thing. It's a scam. I'm not doing this anymore. And they leave. And then you're like, hey, Steve. Like,
Oh
Steve,
shit, we got a group project next week.
yeah,
Let's just talk about that. Or it's like you're like talking to a cute girl and you're like, do I ask her out on a date or do I want to get her to come out for the summer? Like
yeah,
you got
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and again, and people are like, oh, well, that sounds like you're using this to meet. Listen, you're a 19-year-old person or whatever, 20-year-old person who is still probably in college and is just taking a semester off, you know, and you're trying your best. You're not really meeting new people, generally speaking, in college because if you're being a good student, it's hard to like really network and do Southwestern
Mhm.
until the part of Southwestern is to network. You're right. You're like, ah, I could make, even if it's not a cute girl, it's just a person that's really cool. You're like, I would totally just hang out with this person, but you have to keep it professional and be like, no, like we can't be friends until you're doing this.
Until you pass one summer, then we're friends.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's hard.
Mhm.
It's hard. So I understand, man. I'm. It's to me, that's a phenomenal reason. When you just said Paul Tyndall said the same thing, where it's like I felt like I got everything I needed to. I'm sure there's more I could learn, but I did. I tried every ice cream flavor, and yeah, that's good enough. So you
Mhm.
just got done with your summer, going into Southwestern Legacy, right? The insurance company.
Not Legacy, so Southwestern Insurance Group.
Oh, this Southwestern Insurance Group. I
Mhm.
knew there was like some sort of like legacy going on, so actually I haven't caught up. So catch me up. What's the difference, and how did you get into this thing like right up so quickly? I mean, this is like a few months ago.
Yeah, I mean, mainly getting into it, I was just like, all right, I'm done with my 5 summers. I've got all these different routes. I got my accounting degree. So
Oh,
first off,
nice.
I was like, accounting, let's try and find something in there. talking with Hans over and over. And he was like, end of the summer, he had in an accounting job with investment group, and that fell through. They hired someone else before I could get onto that. And
Oh.
basically, it was just talking with Hans a bunch, just meeting people. I talked with Dave Brown, who was pretty sure it was Dave Brown, who's in Oracle like software sales. So I kind of, it was cool. I got to talk to him. That was another route I was thinking of. But then I just met Dave in the insurance group, and I fell in love with the guys there. You know, it was just seemed like such a fun place to work. Always goofing around. We're all in the floor just making sales here, all on the phones every day, and you know, we go out, have fun, and it's just really fun there. It's been a lot. It's been a whole. Feel like I'm in my first summer again. Like, all right, I learned accounting for 5 years. Now I got to learn this whole insurance industry. Good taking tests, reading textbooks, and everything. And I feel like I'm back in school again.
Yeah, dude. It's like it's sales school while you're knocking. Like it's just so much more to learn. So what are some of the biggest differences and similarities that you've noticed from door-to-door sales for books to insurance?
Probably the biggest similarity is just like working the metrics, you know, because we're doing it all on the phone, and there's like hot leads coming in, people that fill out forms like, hey, I'm looking for home and auto insurance. So it's nice, you know, some of them are warm. They're like, oh yeah, cool. But a lot of them, they like filled it out a couple months ago, and they're like, I don't remember. So a lot of the objections are the same, and just like working the numbers of doing that. But
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I know I am. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the people that make this show possible, the people that bring this show to you. These are people who all sold books, and we're here to give a quick shout out to them in a spotlight about their company and what they're up to. So if you're interested, or if after listening to this, you're kind of wanting to know a little bit more, feel free to click on the links below to connect with these people. These are from an excerpt I have with them from a podcast that I do on the side. It's called Executive Exercises, where we take all our sponsors and they come into a think tank and share some awesome ideas about how to grow their business, specifically on different topics. Go check that out. But I pulled some of the comments that they had explaining what they do and who they're looking for on their companies. And so if that sounds like you, like I said, click below. Hope you enjoy. So yeah. And so money wise, and it just seemed like it was going to be the leads, which I wanted to go back to that because you mentioned this, and that's another thing that maybe Southwestern people don't understand is leads. That's kind of like you're saying, basically, imagine you show up to a town to sell books, you send a postcard out to every single family that has kids in school or young children, asking them if they struggle with any of the following subjects, yes or no. Would you be interested in hearing about a product that might help you with all those subjects, yes or no, name and address, and then you just waited at your HQ for like a couple of weeks, and then you got in the mail like 700 people returning that postcard saying, come to my house, here's where I live. Hi, are you the mom of the house? Yes, and you've heard of you. Great.
Yeah. Is this your handwriting, Miss Betty? Yeah, that's my handwriting.
Yeah.
You got a few minutes? It's, again, you're not selling every single lead that you sit down with, but the leads is kind of what interested me, because that kind of anxiety feeling that I talked about at Southwestern and the anxiety I had with Family Heritage, I honestly didn't think that was going to go away, but it has. It's gone away when I sold. I still had a little bit of anxiety, but after that first knock, it goes away. But much less anxiety every week, because I know I have fresh leads coming in. And so even if this day doesn't work out, I know typically our agents will get anywhere from 25 to 50 leads a week of people that they can go and call on.
I want people to understand what it is that you do, how you do it, why you do it, all of the good stuff. You hear a lot about coaching. You hear a lot about life coach, sales coach, business coach, yada, yada coach.
Man, I think just to start off, like what it isn't, it's not training. It's not showing up and having somebody talk at you for 45 minutes to an hour. And like the way that I look at it is we're all human beings. We're all broken in some capacity. And we all know a lot of the people that I work with, they know what they're supposed to be doing. They're just not executing on it, or they're not doing it as intentionally as they should be. Or they're just not focused. They have like 15 different goals or 15 different things that they're trying to balance or do. And because of that, like they're not as intentional as they should be at home, or they're not as intentional as they should be at work, and they're not picking up the phone and calling people. And it's like having a personal trainer for your business. It's having intention on why we do what we do every day, and creating clarity and helping to build our lives and our calendars around what our future goals and intentions are.
That'll do for now. Like I said, make sure you click below to get some more information. And now back to the show.
I feel like that's probably one of the biggest similarities. Another big similarity is just the people, like the positive kind of, like we have like our sales meeting every morning, and we know the little basketball game they had in sales school. I don't know if they ever did that, but that's always
I don't know what that is. Wait,
so
what?
like the little pop shot basketball, and then the hoops, they like roll down the tarps. You know what I'm talking about?
I never did this. I feel old now.
Okay, well, it's just like two little hoops, and we always play like there's like many little hoops, and we'll play like lightning every single morning, and it gets super intense. We're like knocking people over, like people are falling on the tarp and everything, and it's just like such a fun and great atmosphere. I've only been there a month, but yeah, I moved down from Minnesota down there, and that's probably the biggest similarity. There's not too many differences. A lot of it's very, very similar,
That's so wild. That's a trip. The Nashville scene is got to be fun, like moving down there. That's such a fun town.
Yeah, it's been fucking fun. I mean, what was kind of cool too is my dad moved down there like before this summer. So it's like, I could easily get a job with the family of companies and have a place to stay while I build up some money and pay off debts. It was kind of like fate working in my favor. So
dude,
that was another reason I decided it too. I was like, well, I got a place, I got family down there, don't have to like bail on my family. So yeah, that was probably another reason.
And speaking of that, that's probably one of the biggest differences, right? Is with Southwestern is the way you get paid. Like, you think you make a lot of money selling books, and all of a sudden you like leave and start in a different industry. You're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
What have you noticed of that?
Well, as of now, I'm still training, so I'm still hourly, which is decent pay, but nothing crazy. But it's all a matter of building my book of business. So like those first 3 years are just going to be an absolute grind. We work from 7 till 7 almost every day.
Just
and
busting it.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It doesn't really feel like work, but once I start that 2-3 year mark, when there's just like renewals coming in, that's when I'll start to be getting more money. It's kind of more.
But even like when you look up to the people, like when you're selling books, you're like, all right, this person sells 10,000 units and they're making, and they have an org of this size and they're an FSL. So you start doing the math. You're like, oh, they just made, $150,000 this year or whatever. And then you're like, wow, but then they full-timed and all this fucking work and all this stuff. And all right. And then you go see like the insurance guys and they're making like $1 million a year or whatever. Like, and you go, oh, yeah, that's and they're working half the time of a full-timer. You're like, oh shit, that's crazy.
That was one reason why I was like, I need to move on and start getting my bills paid here, start getting some real money here.
Dude, you'll be out of debt by the end of by the end of the year or whatever. After your 2-year mark, it's gonna kick some ass. Hell yeah, dude. Congratulations. That's dope. So the goal is staying here, build out that equity. Are you planning on doing any other projects in the meantime? Like, are you planning on like maybe getting into real estate or anything like that? Or what's like the next 5 to 10 years look like for you?
Yeah, real estate, that's always kind of been like a very attractable thing within any of us people that have sold, residual income. Who doesn't like that? That's always been something of mine I really want to do, but it's like, I'm just going to focus on this, like go. And then, hopefully I have my own place in Nashville within the next couple of years. I'm looking to just get a nice apartment. 5-10 years, mainly stay at this business. And it's so cool. We're only a 4 or 5-year-old company. So like 10, 20 years down the road, you know, insurance is endless. So there's like life we can go into, you know, there's so many different branches that we can branch off to, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah.
And that's another reason I'm excited for it too.
And you're also early on in a company's history. 4 years is not that long. Like, so you still have a say, like what you say still, there's still value in how you can, like, you can still influence the culture and the growth of the company directly, pretty directly. You know, when you're selling books and there's, you know, thousands of book kids and this, you know, your 200 units that week are going to mean a lot. Right. So you're not, but when it's a younger company, you know, what you say does matter more. And it's just a cool place. It's a good place to enter something because it's already been established. Like, they survived the pandemic. So 4 years, they showed that they could do it, which is huge. And now it's more about how do we grow, and then you get to be a part of that. So, dude, that's exciting.
Goal is to be one of the fastest sister companies after the investment group, because they've been one of the faster ones too.
Yeah. Well, Matt Atchison and that group of folks, they're killing that game. They're just they're freaks. Well, Matt, because Matt's always just been a freak, but you know, cheers to you, sir. Cheers to you and to quick growth, baby. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Let's wind the clocks back. I want to hear about how you got into Southwestern. This is a fun part of the show. Is the first end is the business. Let's learn about you. What did you learn? Everyone's taking notes of the things that are important, right? Now it's like, let's have some laughs and share some fun stories. So let's wind the clocks back. Tell me the story of how you got recruited.
Yeah. So hold on one second. What you need?
Can I get my laptop there? That one.
Oh.
Mom needs
that's all good. It's all good. Hey, well, that's happening. We can also do a quick shout out to oh yes, actually, I do want to bring this up. Amy, can you throw the website? Oh, well, we can do that too. Newsletter, guys, we are launching, and this is going to be brand new. We should be ready for this, but we are gonna be launching a way for you guys to be able to get a hold of each other from a network standpoint. We're trying to build this network and build this vision of the podcast where we can become more of an alumni network, like apart from the company. So if you guys would like to sign up for the cult and also send us a DM, we're looking for people in all the major cities in the United States to kind of be our like chapter members and be part of like the growth of the podcast, where we can kind of have people come together and direct traffic in that area, eventually turning it into, you know, we talked about this with Will Metscher on his episode, turned it into like a way to keep track of everyone and kind of network people. But more than anything is to have competitions and help charities to help change the world. So we're trying to do this strategically. And so if you would be interested in being a chapter member, it doesn't really require much, just to kind of be the person that people can contact in that city if they're an alumni and want to like get involved, and then relay that back to us. That'd be great. Just DM us, sign up for the cult, which is our newsletter, and then from there we can you can also message us and we'll stay in touch about that. That'd be great if you could do that. I forgot to mention that, Amy. Sorry, that's something that I talked to Will Metscher about yesterday. So anyway, sorry, Alex. Quick interjection there while you got your mom some help. So let's wind the clocks back. 2018. We're chilling up in North Dakota. Literally chilling in North Dakota. How did you get into this thing?
Yeah. I know. Sorry, my mom. I'm at my parents' house back for the holidays, so she's confiscated her office area.
All good.
But yeah, you know, bring it back to 2018. I was a freshman up there, still figuring out life, and it was kind of weird how I got recruited. Some random person recommended me, who I've yet to this day have no idea who it was. I was in my buddy's dorm room, just hanging out, playing Xbox, you know, and get this call. And it was funny. We ordered pizza, so I'm like, sweet, I'm gonna come down and grab my pizza. And then it's Avery Housley on the other line. She goes, I'm not the pizza delivery person. I'm like, oh, like, all right, like switch it over. I could tell it was like a professional conversation. I'm like, okay, well, what do you need? Like, stepped out in the hallway. She gave me the spiel, $8,000, resume, travel, this, that. I'm like, sweet, I'll hear about it. And go back into the dorms. And it was funny. One of my friends, he was like, yeah, I just told them no. I got the same call. Their roommate was like, yeah, I told them I would go, but there's no way I'm freaking going to that. I'm like, bro, come on. But ended up
Men of your word,
going.
gentlemen. Men of your word.
Yeah, I know. After that question, are you reliable? That dude, I guess, wasn't reliable. Um, but ended up going to the info meeting and kind of just fell in love from there. I was like super excited, really just kind of wanting to make a name for myself going to college. That was kind
Yeah.
of like my whole idea, as a lot of people I feel like are. And yeah, that info just really sold me. I got to see a bunch of sharp people, and I was like, that sounds like mainly looked at it as an adventure rather than a job. Yeah, fell in love, and after those day 2 phone calls, I was like, I'm freaking doing this. And I still love taking those day 2 phone calls.
Yes.
Yeah, you got it, because it's like, okay, I've been hearing this one person talk highly of it for the last 3, 4, 5 days, and it's like nice to hear another voice. Like, oh yeah, this is fucking tough, but it's also great. So love taking
Bro.
those. What's up?
No, I was gonna say you just brought me back. I haven't thought about day 2 calls in a long time. Let me explain those really quick for people listening who might not know or um like don't remember, but there's a time where during the interview process they ask their potential recruit to call other people in the program to get their idea on it, and then that's part of their assignment. So it's kind of like helping break the ice of like calling a random person to take their time. It's great, actually great idea, because it's double whammy, right? But anyway, the person calls and then you're the manager on the other side, and your job is to be as honest as possible with them. You don't sugarcoat it, you don't oversell it. It's like literally like, this is why it sucked, this is what was hard, but here's why it was worth it. And so those calls, you could really impact a person. Like I remember my people that I called, and it helped me a ton and make the decision. So wow, I just went back in time there for a sec. Still, I
Yeah.
miss those calls.
Yeah, you got to get yourself back on the list.
Oh, that's a problem, because then you get too many. Sometimes people would abuse that, and I would get like 4 or 5 of them a night, and I'm like, all right, guys, stop sending people to call me. I'm trying to do
Yeah.
homework. Like, I
Love-hate
need a fishman.
relationship for sure. But
Oh,
yeah, I did that, and I FaceTimed a bunch of people, and parents were like, oh my gosh, like, no way, Alex, like, are you sure you can do this? Just because I was super shy, introverted, very, very quiet dude, didn't have a lot of self-confidence, just because I was so shy and quiet. But
wow.
Avery got to talk with my parents, warm them up, and they're like, well, if you want to do it, fucking do it. So went out to
Let's
Syracuse, New York my first summer.
go. Bro, fucking New York is the best place to have your first summer. Honestly, I had my first summer in upstate New York, over by Wellsville, kind of by Ithaca, kind of just so a little bit more west of you, but it's beautiful. First of all, the weather's always nice in the summer. It's great to sell in. It's great to sell in. So before we get to your first summer, I always like hearing about firsts. What was that first sales school experience like for you as a shy kid? Like, I can't imagine shy and then learning what execs were. And then
Yeah.
how was that for you?
That was tough, because I kind of slacked on this whole sales talk and everything. I got selected pretty late. So to be honest, I didn't have my sales talk down. I was not ready. And anytime I would do an approach, my face would get all red. And like when I would mess up, my face would get all red. But one thing I knew, I had that work ethic. But yeah, it was crazy just seeing all these people and all these like people running around. I'm like, what the heck did I get myself into? I remember the first team meeting, people were like giving me hugs in our campus, and I'm like, dude, I don't know you, but all right, I can, nice to meet you. But yeah, it was funny. Actually, you know, after my second, third summer, I remember talking with Avery, and they're like, Alex, you were one of the people we were worried about going into the summer. I ended up being a top first year, but you know, that was kind of a big like wake up, you know, like holy crap, I'm not the only one doing it. So that was
Dude,
cool.
yeah. It's so wild. And then you like go see Dan Moore speak and you're like, whoa. Like
That dude's
his
sick.
his skills are amazing. Yeah. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild how that happens. Dude, yeah, I that first sales school experience, even as an extrovert, I'm the opposite. I wasn't really shy. I was always very open with being extroverted. I feel like you kind of have to be to start a podcast. So because that's why I started. I was bored out of my mind. Um, but anyway, I just remember thinking like this also doesn't help you. It's you would think that being extroverted is more ideal for selling books, but I don't know. I don't know if it helps you that there's this fine line where you have to find. And I remember I had the opposite of you where you're like, holy shit, I have to really like go out and face people. In my head, I was like, oh, sometimes people don't want to talk to you. Sometimes people don't want your enthusiasm. Sometimes you need to learn how to be more chill and learn to be extroverted, but in a calm way. Because I was the kind I was like, hey, what's up, dude? Nice to meet you. Like super high energy. And I learned really quickly that you can make people super uncomfortable with that. And so I love that you're saying that you learned all these skills there, like how it kind of shocked you because it just takes you back. It's such a fun way to learn about yourself. So,
Yeah.
dude, that's so fun. So you went to Syracuse. Did you have your HQ set up?
No.
Of course not. Never in New
No.
York. Never really anywhere. But how was
Yeah, I
that?
don't think I ever have. No.
Isn't that crazy? That's a crazy
Yeah.
part of this whole thing. It's like you're going to Syracuse. Where are we living? Don't know. How did you find yours?
We did it through church announcements with this like super old lady who was she was just like had an extra room, and she was like, I didn't want to go to church that day, and you guys are there that day, and it was just like God's telling me like these kids need a home. So that
And they
was fun
do.
living with her, but also very interesting too. She wasn't the most positive host family.
What happened?
Well, every single day she would come home and be like, how many books you sell today? Or how many books? I'm like, 0. Well, like, stop asking me that. Like, my manager, I guess, didn't prep her well, and don't ask that question. Or she would always like explain the news. Like, there's a shooting a block down the road. I'm like, well, that's good to hear. I just had not a fun day. So, but it was fun. We made the best of it.
Wow, dude, that's so funny. Dude, the church ladies are the best, because I feel like old ladies are housing book kids of America. Like that is
Mhm.
we gotta give it every time you see an 85-year-old lady, like, and she's driving poorly on the road, I go, you know what? She's probably hosted some book kids, so it's okay.
It's okay. She can drive slow.
So you set up your HQ. Did you follow your first day or were you in there?
I followed my first day.
Oh,
Yeah.
lucky bastard.
Yeah. Hey, I was the
Lucky
one they were
bastard.
worried about, so they let me follow.
Lucky bastard. I did not get to follow my first day. They're like, good luck, dude. Either way, though, the day that you go knock on your own for the first time, it's a day of reckoning. I feel like you're like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember your first door? Do you remember like that walk up or any memories from that?
Well, my first door I was following, and of course, my manager, Oscar, he goes, "Yeah, this is Alex. He's got something to say," and I'm like, "Oh,"
He just throws you in.
I'm like, "Oh gosh." She was luckily nice. She was like, I don't have any kids, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think I got any pre-approach, didn't do anything. I'm like, no kids. Okay, bye. Then just
Oh
the next
man,
door. I'm like, how was that?
dude. I've never been thrown under the bus like that. I've thrown people under the bus like that because it's very funny and it's very like it's not gonna hurt you. It's like it's like it'll be fine. But
Mm-hmm.
what
Diving
did
into
you
the
feel?
deep end.
when he drops that and he's like, hey, he's got something to say to you. What did you like? Did you just jump in right away? Did you freeze? How did you feel?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it was a long time ago. I'm pretty sure I froze up and I was like, do you want me? And he was like, yeah. And then he kind of gave me a little like, get talking. And I'm like, oh, okay. I started trying to do my sales talk and everything. And yeah, it didn't go well.
Oh man. And then you go from that to your first customer. How long did it take you before you had one?
So yeah, my first month of selling didn't go didn't go too well. I sold my book the next day. Wi-Fi was out. I didn't have any service, so I did the paper order form. Didn't even get his credit card info, so I'm like doing it with my manager the night, putting in the order, and he's like, dude, you forgot the credit card information. So that was a 0 down customer. And then the whole rest of that week, I didn't sell anything.
Oh my God. That's so brutal, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wow. My first couple weeks were like a big reality check on like, holy crap, I need to get good at start learning how to talk with people and, actually build some confidence.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I know I am. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the people that make this show possible, the people that bring this show to you. These are people who all sold books, and we're here to give a quick shout out to them in a spotlight about their company and what they're up to. So if you're interested, or if after listening to this you're kind of wanting to know a little bit more, feel free to click on the links below to connect with these people. These are from an excerpt I have with them from a podcast that I do on the side. It's called Executive Exercises, where we take all our sponsors and they come into a think tank and share some awesome ideas about how to grow their business specifically on different topics. Go check that out. But I pulled some of the comments that they had explaining what they do and who they're looking for on their companies. And so if that sounds like you, like I said, click below. Hope you enjoy. That's okay. And actually, and this is good to, I had Nick kind of explain this a little bit too, but it's because I've been in the insurance industry before. For people who are listening, like, how do you make 115% commission?
The way I explain it to people is the insurance companies we represent. So we're a broker. All these companies we work with, they know they're not really going to be making any money off the sales that I make for the first several years, but they don't care about that. They know these clients are going to be on the books for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. So they know they're going to make money over the long haul. And so part of the reason agents are able to make so much is there's all these companies out here and they're all competing for the broker's business, because these companies don't actually have their own in-house sales force. They have independent contractors. And so if their compensation or their commission levels that they offer aren't competitive, I'm not going to place any business with them.
Hello. Off schedule moment. Wanted to tell you about Southwestern Real Estate. They're 99% drama free. Only 99, not 99.9. So it's a bit spicy. Kind of like this episode. Anyway, they will learn you to kick ass at real estate. So make sure you guys click the link below. Get in touch with them. Okay, back to work. Bye. That'll do for now. Like I said, make sure you click below to get some more information. And now back to the show. Wow. How long did it go before you finally started to click for you?
Like 5th week.
No fucking way.
Maybe even 6th. Yeah, I can kind of get into that too.
Yeah, go for it. I'm in here, bro. This is like, and I don't mean it. Don't take this as like for people listening. It's not. We're not laughing at your pain, but it's just one of those things where it's like so much goes into trying to just even get settled, and so you're doing this thing where you're learning about yourself so much, right? And you're starting to figure things out, but I'm looking for the aha moment, right? That's what I want to hear, which I feel like is coming. So, but just for people listening, it's like the payoff. I can't relate to this. I had a good start and I never really struggled until my 4th summer, 3rd summer. But to hear it from your side and the experience it's so encouraging. You know what I'm saying? There's probably book people listening to this right now that maybe are in their 2nd week and it's like, dude, keep going. It gets better. And such a lesson on if you work hard enough at something, eventually it gets better and you do great. So I'm excited to hear this. Just wanted to preface it with that because I value and I commend you for your perseverance and your persistence. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, one thing going into that summer, I was like, there's just absolutely no way I'm quitting. Like, they're going to have to drag my butt out of here. And that was kind of my mentality. But second week sold like 20 units. I was like, all right. And the hard part about my first couple weeks, I had super long hair, didn't use Facebook at all. And like my PR was absolutely horrible. Like everyone's been there that sold. You have those weeks or those cities where your PR is just horrible. Moms are going crazy on Facebook. And that was me, my first, second, third week, I had 40 units. Third week, yeah, I had 40 units. Fourth week, I had back to 20. And I was just like, the hard thing about me, those first couple weeks is I was so tough on myself. After every house, I was like, shit, I should have done this, or I should have done this, and this, and was just constantly like so much pressure. I just was not having fun. But I was like, there's no freaking way I'm quitting. You know, that'd be the saddest drive home of me. Like, oh, I went out and worked and drive all the way back to Minnesota.
You've made like $800 out of all those units in a month.
Yeah, well, the thing after that is I sold 100 units my fifth week, and I was like, woohoo, finally, like I hit 100. And that after that week, I had a good, like, this was the aha moment, was when I PC'd with one of my managers, and he was just like, you know, probably shouldn't say this to a lot of first years. He was like, Alex, you know, you've lost $500 and you've been out here working 5 weeks. Like, we counted up the expenses and everything and all the gas, all the license, this, that. I was down like $400 or $500. And it was kind of like this emotional high of like me finally getting to sell and then just like kind of being crushed. I'm like, shit, I'm still in the hole. I haven't made any money. And he was just like, Alex, are you out here to like thrive or survive? And I just start bawling. I'm like, fuck, I didn't come out here to, you know, not make money and not sell. And yeah, that was kind of my aha moment. You know, I was just like, fuck it. You know, I'm going to stop whining, stop like being so hard on myself, and just like started having fun. I got a haircut, you know, got a fresh cut, because I always had like the hockey long hair. So I finally cut that short. That helped my PR a little bit. Mom didn't think I would be, you know, stoned at the door and stuff with my long hair. I got that a lot of the times. And that's really when I just started having fun. You know, I finally like embraced and accepted my situation. I was like, all right, I'm here. Stop thinking about back home. Stop just complaining, and just like, really the one thing that helped me was becoming my own best friend and just reminding myself of all the things I'm doing right. But that first couple weeks, big reality check.
Whoa. Let's pause. You can't like, I mean, you casually saying this because you're looking at it 5 years later or whatever, but bro, that is a significant thing to realize about yourself and about your life.
Mm-hmm.
You went from in the hole $500, and then the lesson that you learned was, it's okay. It's not that big of a fucking deal. Don't take myself so seriously. Take what I'm doing seriously, and then the rest will come out. And I mean, I've said this again in the last couple episodes, even, but the constant theme of the last few episodes that we've had, probably for like a month or two, has been just this, where it's like, know yourself and don't take yourself so freaking seriously. You're going to succeed. It's going to work out. Walk me more through that. Cause I mean, you're dropping that now casually, cause you know, you just, you know, 5 years later or whatever, but what did you say to yourself that starting that next week? I mean, cause there had to have been some self-talk stuff that you did that you were like, all right, bro, this is the week and it's gonna, my life is gonna, cause that's a pivotal moment in your life, dude.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate through that by yourself? And what did you say to yourself?
I mean, there really wasn't. It was definitely a lot of self-talk because, you know, I wasn't self-talking a lot those first couple weeks. I was mainly, my self-talk was, fuck, I did this wrong and I did that wrong. It was mainly just like positive things, like whether I knocked on a door I didn't, or, you know, I was like, you know, when they opened the door and shut it, I'm like, hey, I was smiling, or I was doing my side approach. And I was just like taking those little wins and constantly just adding and adding it up and using those as confidence anchors, which really just helped me with my attitude. And that just made me feel a lot more present doing it too. And I feel like that was my biggest self-talk, was just going from like stop bitching to more of like, okay, I'm doing the little things right. And just like kind of became a master of the habits. And that's kind of what I've done for the rest of my 5 summers, was just like be a front page rookie and just drill in those habits,
Wow.
It's a 160-year-old recipe.
Dude, that is so cool. I mean, there's so much even just to take from what you just said, even there, where catching yourself doing the right things. Look, there's people right now that have the right and very well in the world who very understandably could completely say, I'm not where I want to be because of this. And it's a legitimate reason. Right. And we're not taking it away from that. And you had that. You had that too at that point. But just because you have the right, or you deserve to even, use those things as reasons why, which is okay. Some people don't have that. They're using it and it's a total excuse. Some people legitimately have those reasons, and it's like, hey, life shit on you, and you have it. Regardless, though, what you just said right there, it's like, hey, I have reasons to bitch, and I for sure totally could. Or I could be thankful for the things I'm doing right, be thankful for the opportunity, be thankful. And just that perspective change alone, what it did for you, that's wild.
It's probably one of the biggest things I got out of my first summer, was just an incredible sense of perspective. Because like growing up, I've traveled, I've done this, been to Mexico, I have family in Alaska. But like whenever you go on those vacations, I feel like you're always at a resort or an all-inclusive resort, or you're doing excursions. You're not actually meeting the people, and really just, meeting the people and immersing myself in the community. When people would kick me off their doors saying I'm stealing kids or whatever, I would just be like, they're just protecting the community. Took me a while to embrace that, but that perspective change and just like meeting all the people is something I just am so grateful for, really.
Wow. And how quickly did it change? Let's talk about so how did that next week go, for example?
Yeah, so I started being, the top first year in our group. We had a lot of people leave that summer, a lot of first years. We had a student manager leave that year too, so that was kind of tough on the org.
Oh, that's rough.
Right,
when a student manager leaves,
that was rough. Yeah, I wasn't too close with them, so I was like, I'm not quitting, going back to what I said. But ended up hitting around 200 units from like there on for the next 3-4 weeks. And it was funny, I got to speak at one of the Sunday meetings when our DSL was in there, and he goes, "What did you do well?" And I just did finally set my timer, and I actually self-talked. And everyone, he just starts like chuckling. He's like, "Dude, I've been telling you to do this ever since sales school. Like, stay on a good schedule and self-talk." I'm like, well, 5 weeks later, I finally implemented it. But yeah,
and it worked.
It took off. Yeah, it worked.
So, and notice that you're not, for people who are listening, who might be stuck in their life right now, you didn't say shit about how you got better at the approach or how you got better at the close. I mean, I'm sure that happened too, but notice that none of what we're talking about right now has anything to do with really technical ability at all. Like, you were the same person, the same fucking person that Monday of that next week that you ended up hitting doubling as you were, Saturday 2 days ago or day one. You're the same fucking person. The only thing that changed is you just changed how you looked at the situation you were in.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's wild. The power of that, dude, is so cool. Good for you.
So yeah, then Go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, well, how did the rest of the summer go? You said you were averaging 200 for the next couple of weeks. Did you end up like moving up in the chain, or how did you deal with the rest of the summer?
So I did well for like the next couple of weeks, and then I got selected back for the next summer, and I feel like I got just like complacent, and I really started thinking about like my friends back home, like, oh, we're gonna go do this, we're gonna go fishing here, we're gonna do that. So then I dropped back down to $100, 100 units, which is $8 profit around in today's dollars. But yeah, and then I kind of did like pretty average towards the end, and I had like 1,200 units at the end of the summer. Barely missed that Sizzler trip. It was 1,300. But the funny thing about that is at awards banquet, we were here in Minnesota, and our Sarah, I forget her title.
Yeah.
She was like, "Hey, Alex, you can still hit it. Like your license isn't over. Like, the trip hasn't been like solidified in yet." So I was like, "Really?" So that day at the awards banquet, me and my dad went up and met. I sold him a CEA my sister used, and just started going crazy, just making sales to like family, friends, whoever. Having my parents set me up, and got to go on the Sizzler trip in Mexico. So that was
That's
like
the
one of my
best way to
ultimate
start,
goals going into my first summer. It's like, I want to be on that freaking trip.
yeah. Was it worth it? Where'd you go?
We went to Cancun that summer.
Yeah. Good
Yeah.
times. What that dude, your first, ain't nothing like your first Sizzler. I mean, there's a lot of really good Sizzlers, but ain't nothing like your first Sizzler. You're like, let's go. That's so
Yeah.
fun, dude. That's so fun. And then you're coming back. How did that transition into coming back occur? 'Cause sometimes people are like totally bought in. They're like, I'm in. Sometimes people have to be a little bit more PC'd, if you will, to decide that. How did you know?
I mean, I just knew that I grew a ton. It was kind of crazy coming back from my first summer. My parents were like, holy crap, Alex, we see this like whole nother person. Like you have this sense of confidence, you have this communication, just kind of like this aura, like glow. And I'm like, really? No, I'm still the same goofy old dude. And I got to hear that from a lot of my high school friends, which was really cool. Because freshman year, that's the part. A lot of people are like FOMO. I want to hang out with my high school buddies. So it was cool to hear them say that. I'm like, wow, if my family and friends are really starting to notice this change in me, and like I obviously noticed an aspect of it, but them reaffirming me just like really sold me on coming back for the next summer, even though I already signed the DA. But I was like, I might as well do this through college. I got this locked in pretty much. It was his top first year, was successful, and it was an adventure, like I said. So.
Yeah, for sure. And then what did your career look like? I mean, so that first summer you barely hit Sizzler, you squeezed in, right? How did the rest of the few summers go? Like how did you feel like the rest of your career looking back on it? How did it go?
A lot of ups and downs,
Yeah. Same.
Second,
I just had downs, by the way. I was like 4,000 units my first summer, 35 or something, and then like 1,200, and then like 1,000. It just was a nosedive.
what the? That's wild.
Super off schedule my third summer. It was bad. Anyway,
Yeah.
how about you?
Going to the movies one time.
Yeah, dude. One time I went to the movies a lot of times. I saw every new film that summer. Everyone.
Yeah. My second summer I stayed the exact same. I kind of had that feeling of overconfidence, and overconfidence is that feeling after get your butt kicked. I was like, I did this one summer. I don't need to do my sales talk before. I don't need to prep. Tried to recruit a couple friends, but didn't really try too hard. I would just kind of bring people over to the infos when my DSL is in town and make it look like I'm doing some recruiting. And I stayed pretty similar, 1,300 that second summer. Third summer, I was like, I'm not fucking doing that again. Prepped like crazy. and ended up hitting growth, which in kind of a wild way. I'll save that for the end. But
that's a ponytail. Let's
yeah. My third
go.
summer was probably the ponytail story. And then fourth summer, I freaking crushed it. That was my best summer. And yeah, we had a sick HQ. That's one thing I learned about that summer was or same with my third summer is the HQ matters a lot. Headquarters where you're living. Because if you're coming home to that, like my first summer, mom, oh, how much you sell, and just like being super negative.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my third and fourth summer, I almost hit double growth, which was pretty freaking cool.
That's wild, bro. So for people who don't know, so growth is 1,100 units, unless it's changed. It's still right.
1,100.
So that's what's considered growth. And then if you grow, which I'm surprised that's not a percentage thing, but whatever. And then double growth, of course, is 2,200 units, which is, I mean, compared to your first summer, that's almost 2 of your first summers. That's crazy. That's almost 2. That's wild. Congrats.
Yeah, I almost
so dope.
doubled it.
Where were you that fourth summer? Since your third summer is like all ponytail stuff, we'll get to that in the end. But where were you that fourth summer?
Yeah, my fourth summer I would probably say is my favorite summer of them all. Between my third and my fourth, we were in Buffalo, New York. So back to New York. So that was really awesome. I had one first year, the first half of the summer. He went home. So I got moved in with my HQ buddies. That was on my third summer. We were the Love Bugs. Shout out the Love Bugs. And that was just awesome. So in Buffalo, New York, my fourth summer, I was just incredibly prepared. I graduated. So I was like, I was thinking this was going to be my last summer, ended up coming out for a fifth. But I was just like, whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to give it my freaking all. And I was just incredibly consistent that summer, hitting around 300-400 units every single week, pretty much. And
wow,
I freaking loved it out there in Buffalo.
Bro, it's New York, man. I feel like New York was my favorite turf. It's just so people there are like education conscious. They're not super poor, but they're not like, I mean, you still have some big brick, but it's a solid mix. Most of it is country. And when you're selling out there in that New York country, the way it's just laid out, you're like, but then you'd also start getting into like your little suburban areas or like you're like, yeah, it's just no bad turf up there. That's some good territory.
Yeah, that was good. That was great. And it was cool. One thing we were super good at, though, my third and fourth summer was we were incredibly good at PR. Our whole HQ had 200 shares on our Facebook post. So a couple people were on the news. So a lot of times people would get me mixed up for my other roommates and be like, yo, like, I thought you had like a blue car, or you don't look like the guy in that newspaper. I'm like, no, there's a bunch of us. So I always like to say PR, you just got to become a local celebrity in your area.
It's great, dude. It's so nice when you show up and they're like, oh, Alex? And you're like, yeah. Glad you know.
Gotcha.
Well, do you want to just give me the check now? Or do you want to, I can go through the spiel, but you know my name, so you might as well just write the check. Just tell me how old your kids are. Give me $600.
Yeah,
see you
this
next
one's
week.
for you. This one's for you.
Yeah.
All right.
It's also good when you get to that level of sales where you not only are your PR is good, but the town's PR is good to you. In other words, like you're aware of the things in that community. You know that the assistant pastor's wife cheated on him, and that's kind of been the talk of the town, or that the 10th grade psychology teacher has cancer, just overcame it. Or that the coach from the football coach 2 years ago was sniping money or whatever, all of those little like crazy gossips. And so you show up to a house and you're like, the mom's like, oh yeah, that was Mrs. Johnson. She's like really battling with cancer. You're like, actually she just started remission. And you're like, You know, and she's like, how do you
Immediate
know? And you're
rapport.
like, yeah, you're like, I know because I was just talking to her. I was at her house and she told me. So what's up, bitch? Like, let's go. Try, test me. Ask me the toughest sixth grade teacher. Ask me. Like, it's such a good time. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm. Yeah, and that's how I stayed consistent, was just like everyone knew me. And it was like every single day I'd run into one or two people that saw me on Facebook, get those easy sit downs and just those easy conversations, and was rocking that summer.
And it just develops as the summer goes on. I mean, by week 10, it's like, because you haven't had to move HQs, you haven't had to move new towns. You're just working your way through that one. And it's, man, it's that's fun. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
And it was kind of cool. At the end of the summer, I was graduated. So I stayed out for the Renegades, where you stay out for 2 extra weeks.
Yeah.
And me and my other friend that were staying out, we already hit growth. And so we're like, it's just free units, you know, it's just free, like an extra bonus. And me and him just cranked out those last 2 weeks, ended up winning the Renegades Team Precision. So
Let's
that was
go.
pretty cool. Added another $500 for winning that. And yeah, that was really, really cool. Then that next weekend after we won, me and my buddy were like, you know, we've already done it. We're going to stay out one more week. We already won the Renegades. We've already hit growth. I think he hit double growth. And we're like, you know, what do we do now? It's like Sunday meetings. We would like go to we would go to like some fancy breakfast and get like Bloody Marys and some mimosas. And one day we went to the Buffalo Bills game.
Let's go.
We took off Saturday. We're like, let's go to a preseason game. And that was really, really cool. We were like tailgating, just going around the Buffalo Bills. People were smashing tables. And the funny part about us tailgating is we walked up to some random people playing bags. We're like, hey, can we play bags? You know, just wanting to hang out. Cornhole. I don't know what people call them across the country.
Yeah.
And it was funny. What's that?
I was like, I'm with you.
Yeah. And it was funny. The people we asked were like, yo, you're the guys selling books. And of course they knew me. They were like, we were about to grab our shotgun out, and until like someone said no, like we've seen him before. And it was funny. They gave us some beers and we hung out with them until the game. That was my favorite Saturday/Sunday meeting.
Bro, that's the best. Who were they playing? You remember?
I think they were playing the Packers. It was a preseason game. So we got
to see some fun. Fun
stomp
football.
down on the Vikings rivals there. So I was happy.
Hey guys, hope you're enjoying the episode so far. I know I am. I wanted to give a quick shout out to the people that make this show possible, the people that bring this show to you. These are people who all sold books, and we're here to give a quick shout out to them in a spotlight about their company and what they're up to. So if you're interested, or if after listening to this you're kind of wanting to know a little bit more, feel free to click on the links below to connect with these people. These are from an excerpt I have with them from a podcast that I do on the side. It's called Executive Exercises, where we take all our sponsors and they come into a think tank and share some awesome ideas about how to grow their business specifically on different topics. Go check that out. But I pulled some of the comments that they had explaining what they do and who they're looking for on their companies. And so if that sounds like you, like I said, click below. Hope you enjoy. On a note from I'm trying to think, like if I was looking into this, and for people who are listening who might be like, hey, this actually, I want to learn more about this. What's the barrier to entry? Like maybe I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, that sounds cool, but I don't know shit about insurance. Like why would I want to go talk to people?
Yeah, the barriers to entry, I think, are really pretty low. Everybody would probably have a different opinion, but in terms to just be able to get out the door and go sell, you've got to get a license. I have my life and health license because you needed the health license at Family Heritage, or if you want to sell Medicare products or certain types of health products, you have to have the health side. But what it takes to get either one or both of those licenses is roughly the same. You take a study course. You may need to study for 15 hours. You may need to study as many as 30 hours. But like with Cardinal, we've got a pretty cool course. From studying to getting your license can can be as quick as like 7 to 10 days if you really 15 to 20 if you're moving at a medium pace. And beyond that, if it takes you longer than that, you're just not really all that motivated to start because it's not a difficult process.
Yo, let's get off schedule one last time. Go watch a movie, or maybe you should figure out how to work at EnLight.Energy. Alex Black is crushing it down there, and a former DSM, Julio Hernandez, are both running this company. And man, they are cranking 10 people on their team and growing. It's enough that Alex only has to sell like one thing every other week and make over 6 figures. So if you want to learn more about that and maybe help change the planet, click on the link below. That'll do for now. Like I said, make sure you click below to get some more information. And now back to the show. That's right, baby. Let's fucking go. Was Josh Allen already playing? Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. So it would have been 2021.
2020.
Yeah. Or 2020. Yeah, he would have been in there. That's dope, bro. It's so funny because when people recognize you and you just enjoy at post. I never sold post deliveries like that, but I was like, man, that's how it would be done all year round. Like if you wanted to do this for the year, it's just more chill, and you could actually probably sell a shit ton of books that way because you get like just keep chasing that PR until you go through the entire town. And if it takes you 12 weeks of just one town after having great PR after the summer, dude, you could crank.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what happens, really. That's why we were like, hey, we're staying out, you know? We're both just don't have much going back home, so we're staying out.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it, dude. So fun. Now, talk to me a little bit about the recruiting experience. And then we'll go into some rapid fire questions, and then that'll prompt some more ponytails. But just, I wanted to, because you did full time, so I did want to, like, and you know, what did you learn about that? What did you learn about yourself? You kind of alluded to this earlier a little bit, but I wanted to get in the details of this now since it's towards the end of your career and it was like what you did the last summer. Then we'll do rapid fire questions and then some ponytails.
Yeah, I kind of sucked at recruiting, to be honest. That was not my forte, that's for sure.
Just flat out, I sucked.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I recruited one guy my whole 5 years, and he didn't do the greatest. So, but yeah, recruiting was always really weird for me, just because I had my solid group of friends in college, and they already knew about it, and my family. I mean, I feel like I fucked up recruiting my family, my brother, my sister, because every single night of my first summer, I would call my mom or dad and just complain about like what happened, hearing all these like war stories of like not good stuff happening. So my brother and my sister, they were gone. But recruiting was really, really cool, and I'm really glad I did it, just because that was one of the biggest things that was super uncomfortable for me. I was good with talking with peers, I was good talking with adults, but I was good talking with adults, but I was bad at talking with peers. I would always still be shy, still be nervous. So really, I got into it was when I was full-time and I had metrics to hit. I had people to call, I had to do my stats. And probably the biggest thing I learned just doing that was just learning how to be vulnerable with people. Like really, really being to tell your story and like actually explain the ups and downs of the summer, because I've seen people come out into the summer not knowing those like really, really deep moments where it absolutely sucks and you want to go home. But I feel like the people that did really well, they knew that was going to happen. So that's what I really loved about recruiting, was just building that confidence with talking with peers and really just learning how to be vulnerable with myself and actually share some of the things, they maybe probably didn't want to hear, but I told them anyways. And that just gave me a lot of confidence and, actually being vulnerable with people. That was probably the biggest thing I got from recruiting.
Bro, that's beautiful. I mean, that's really what makes us human. What helps you connect with other people is the ability to do just that, which is like to admit, hey, this is what I'm not so sure about. This is the things that I don't know. I'm confident in all this. I'm confident in all of that. This, not so sure. But those insecurities, that vulnerability between you and another human being is probably where the most connection happens. That's a beautiful lesson to learn, man. Congrats. Dude, That's awesome. And I feel like that's a lot what the show is about. You know, we've had so many people on here share some stuff about their insights that maybe they hadn't got a chance to discuss before regarding, you know, this experience. And it's been really cool and rewarding to see that and people share. So I appreciate you sharing that. That's a valuable lesson for sure. Bro, so awesome. Do you want to go into some rapid fire stuff really quick, and then we'll go towards that the ponytail, because I feel like this is going to be a juicy ponytail, or like it's just going to be a fun ride.
That'd be good. Yeah. Sure.
All right, so I feel like I already know the answer to this one, but favorite territory?
Buffalo people. I feel like that's because I did super well sales wise. But I really loved Southern Ohio, the landscape of
really
Ohio. Yeah, that was just beautiful because it was really mountainy, and we lived on a lake too. I remember one of my roommates collected a crossbow. He was like, "Oh, hey, I'll take $5 off your order if I can take that crossbow." And the guy's like, "Sure." And I remember us staying. It was Saturday night. We didn't have the greatest schedule, but we had a lot of fun, and we all crushed that summer. But I remember us staying up till like two in the morning. We're trying to shoot through like sample books, and we snapped the arrow after round 1. Couldn't find it. It's probably scattered somewhere in their backyard. But that was one of my other favorite ones, just because, you know, my 3rd and 4th were my favorite HQs, and I'm a big supporter of like it all starts there. So those are my top two favorite spots.
Love it. Favorite kind of turf: country, big brick, suburban, cookie cutter houses. What was your favorite kind of turf?
See, you know, I grew up in the suburbs, so I always thought, I was like, oh, please put me in the suburbs. You know, I can relate with people a lot more. Not the case at all. I ended up doing really well in the country, small towns, you know, drive 15 minutes to a house. And I love that too, just because you would get to the door and people would be like, oh, come on in. Or like, I can't get up on my rocker. Like, all right, sure.
Good shit.
Yeah, country all day. That is where I didn't really sell a lot of, you know, big brick neighborhoods too much in my 5 summers. I did here and there, like a couple weeks at every end of the summer, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, I get that. You know, it's funny. I don't remember the last time someone didn't say country for that question.
I think we should just stop putting people in the city and just do country.
Honestly, dude. Honestly. And then maybe some suburban stuff, maybe like some outskirts of a big city. Maybe. Like,
yeah.
Maybe. Favorite advanced sales?
Oh, Roger Sipe. That's easy. I love his is more of like, his keynote is more of like, it's not really advanced sales. It's just funny ass stories of him in his experience. And it always makes me laugh, you know?
Ain't no stopping him.
Ain't no stopping me. Yep. Mudsuck, West Virginia. What is it? Handsome and yeah, that was fucking hilarious.
Handsome and ugly? No. I can't, yeah. But either way, fucking awesome. Awesome story. Yeah. His episode was really fun. Roger Sipe's episode was a good time. Okay, favorite HQ.
Yeah, probably my 3rd one. That one was sick. We had our host mom too would cook us leftovers, and she literally called us her sons, and like every time we would get home, or like on Sundays, she would like give us hugs and be like, oh, how's your day? And I always tell people on the day 2 phone call, it's like, I ate like a freaking king that summer. So that was pretty cool. Sunday meals and just unlimited leftovers. And it really she really treated us like family, which was.
You love that, dude. You gotta love that. Favorite product to sell or tack on?
CEAs, you know,
every time.
Yeah, I suck. I took my ACT 5 times. So I relate with a lot of those people. That's for sure.
It's also just, I mean, generally speaking, the best product. Uh,
Especially the updated one.
Kyle picked the uh, Avildsen. He picked the topic source or the C, which is like, okay, fair. I like the topic source too, but CA I feel like is probably the best one.
I love selling topic source to people that don't even have kids. They're just like, oh, this looks like an interesting book. And I'm like, I've only done it a couple of times, but I'm like, all right, sure.
Yeah, dude. We were just talking about that. It's like I would order one just for me. Just like to have over the house. It'd be fun to read it through every once in a while. Just put it, you know how people put magazines in the toilet? It's like, no, just leave a topic source in there. And
It'll
just
last 5 years.
Yeah, and people be like, "This is great. Did you know that Christopher Columbus, or did you know that Jupiter's fifth moon, or whatever?" Favorite overall summer. I feel like I know the answer to this one.
That was number 4.
Four, yeah.
Buffalo,
Okay, you mentioned
yeah.
that.
Just that after experience with the Renegades, and
yeah,
we had a solid host family too. Because
can't
our
beat
host
that.
family was like 26, 27, which is kind of weird, kind of interesting.
About the same age as yours. You're like, this is odd.
Yeah, it was weird, but it was fun.
Best sales day. Now, this could be best sales day in units, or just like, man, that was the best sale. Even maybe you hit 0 units, but it was like something about it that was the best. Either one, however you want to, or maybe it's both.
Yeah, I mean, my best sales day was 197 units, and I know in Roger Sipes is like, he sold 197 units in a day, and I only sold that in a week from his advanced sales, if you listen back on that. And that was a really awesome day. It was weird. I was in a Native American city, which I learned a couple weeks later, there's no soliciting in the whole city. Oops.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I crushed it. And it was right after they would get their monthly paychecks. So I was just going from like referral to referral, and they all lived in this little like neighborhood. And I was just like selling core 4s and 6 sets just back to back to back. And that was freaking fun. Otherwise,
sick,
some of my favorite days is just follow days. I feel like people would put, people would follow me just to like show them how to have fun. You know, I wasn't the greatest salesman, but I learned how to have fun doing the job.
Dude, yes. Follow days are good. Just sometimes you get some of the shit you'd get into. Like you were like, I mean, because Bookfield had crazy stuff when you were by yourself also, but it was also nice when something crazy would happen. You're like, you saw that too, right? It wasn't just me thinking that grandma was hitting on me, right?
Yeah, I got one good follow story.
Shoot it. Unless it's a ponytail, but if you could tell it now, it'd be great.
No, this one's quick. Someone else's rookie was following me, and I just sold an Explore and Learn. It was like one of those cul-de-sacs. And then I go to this next house. I'm doing a sit down with the CEA, and it was funny. So I sell the mom. I tried to ask the kid. She goes, no. Super like old school Asian family. And she was like, no, my kid, he's like playing video games, whatever. And she was like, okay, this looks cool. Like, let me go up and ask him. And she goes up and asks him, comes, grabs him, and she was like, all right, now you got to show him. So I got to do my sales talk over again, show him everything. And at the same time, the mom goes over to the person that was following me and just starts grilling him on questions like, when were you guys founded? Where are you guys located? You know, where are these products made? And I'm like, oh shit. Like he's just over there. Yeah, I'm just like, he's just getting over there hounded by this mom. And I'm like, all right, try and sound it quick. And I'm like, all right, would you use this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, tell your mom to come back over here. She's like, hold on. Still asking him questions. And I'm like, come over here. I need to close now. And it was part of the new summer, at the beginning of the summer. I think it was my second summer. So I didn't sell a lot of CEAs, and I said the wrong price. I said 530 and it was 430. And she like eventually sell her. And she goes, how much was it? or no, she goes up inside or something to grab the money. And my rookie goes, yo, it's 430. I go, oh crap. He tells me the right price. And she goes, how much was it? I go, 430. She goes, oh, I thought you said 530. I go, nope, said 430. She just pulls out cash and just pays me. And I'm like, all right, sweet. Messed up the price, but she still bought.
She drilled that first year.
Yeah, that was a funny time.
Oh my gosh. What was your favorite breakfast spot?
There's one in Kentucky. I forget the name. It was Lib and Mom's Cafe. They had these like little sausage biscuits for like $3. Otherwise, my third summer was pretty cool. We didn't have a breakfast spot, so you just eat Jimmy Dean sandwiches in the HQ, and then just go to a gas station and do our execs. That was just weird, but it was fun.
Dude, Seth Hood one time, this is probably my favorite, just to tell you, because you reminded me of, he kind of had the same thing where he was like, there's no breakfast spot. So he instead would cook breakfast at home, which is a big no-no because they tell you to get out of the HQ as soon as possible. But he would cook breakfast at home, like a breakfast burrito, and then he would go to this pond in the middle of like the country that he had found one of the days that he was like between houses, and it was like the most peaceful, quiet place, and he would just enjoy this, like fill out his orders, enjoy this burrito, and just be in nature. And he goes, that was the best decision I ever made, because that summer he crushed it. And I was like, damn, that's so cool. Like, we should do that every time. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
to be honest, I liked having breakfast at the HQ just because it was more calming, but I could totally tell how, first years would get off schedule. It was nice. The times we did that, it was 3 managers and 1 rookie. So we kind of knew what we were doing, but I could see how that would go sideways quickly.
Yeah. Also, there is something nice. We were just talking to Kyle about this, but like, when you connect with that, the waitress that's always working. So by the end of the summer, they just like got your order down. You're seeing them every day, and it's almost like a hard goodbye with them, because you're like, hey, thanks Donna for serving us pancakes or whatever every day. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So there's pros and cons for sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
Oh man, bro, let's go into some ponytails. I want to hear about this third summer ponytail. If you like, we have a big one here. But for people who are listening who don't know why it's called a ponytail, it's our guest's favorite story. Now, this could be a big customer, it could be something crazy, outrageous that happened in the Metscher, big lesson that they learned, the time they got arrested but didn't. I don't know. We have it's always been different. Everybody's told us a variety of things, but hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Alex Holbeck, my man, Mike is yours. Go for it.
Sweet. Is it cool if I go to the bathroom really quick?
Yeah, if you have to. Yeah, sure.
Right. I'm gonna add some suspense here.
That's good. I got an announcement to make anyway. Now we can talk about Bizzler, Amy. So Bizzler 2023 in Jamaica. Let's go. Jamaica, man. So we are going to be going to, I think it's Montego, the Hilton in Montego. And the dates of that, and the details more on that are going to be coming out, but there's a link below. By the time this airs, for sure, there's going to be a link below that you can click on and get all of the details. There will be probably a video and or just a document that you guys can get all of the information that you need for this upcoming Bizzler. This is going to be our second one, and we're going to make it an annual thing after the success of the first one. Last year, we had, I think, 18 people come out, and it was a blast. We got to know each other really well, and it's been a really fun experience looking back on it. So this year, we're hoping to have even more people who want to come and enjoy the networking and just the camaraderie of meeting up with some other alumni of different time periods and just connecting with them. I will say, we announced earlier, here we go, tattoo. I committed to this, but if we get 100 rooms booked for this Bizzler, I will get a ponytails tattoo on my butt cheek, and I will let the people who go to Bizzler vote whether it'll be right or left, or middle. But anyway, on that note, Alex is back. And do you think I should get it on my middle cheek? If
That's up to you, dog. I don't want to be the decider of that.
All right, my man. So the ponytails of your episode is involving your third summer.
Mhm.
I'll let you take it away from here.
Sweet. Yeah. So South Ohio, baby. The start of the love bugs. Back to them. Yeah, that was a fun summer. I was coming off my 1200 units first, second summer. And I remember just a big goal of mine was hitting growth. I really, really wanted to go on our VIP trip that they would always do, just because I saw like Snapchats and videos of this like huge mansion they would rent out. And, this year it was going to be like, that year it was freaking huge. It was awesome. But the summer I was just doing average. I was doing like 100, 200, 100, 200, just kind of up and down, up and down. And that was the year of COVID too. So everyone was,
the pandy.
The good old pandy. Everyone was home, everyone was there, and I was doing pretty decent. And I committed to staying, those extra 2 weeks after probably like halfway through, just because I did the math on like how many more weeks I need to do. And that was crazy. So I'm probably like 800, 900 units away from hitting growth end of the summer. Like most people are delivering, most people are getting it done, packing up. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do my 2 weeks, see if I can make some magic happen and hit growth. Ended up doing pretty subpar. That first week had like 150, 180 units, nothing crazy. Same week after too, 150, 180. And I remember after every single week, I would count up every single book on my record of sales unit wise, because I was very unit driven when I was selling. Very money motivated. And every single week.
If it works, it works, man.
Yeah, it worked. And every single week I'm like, fuck, I'm still not there. Like I need to stay out another week. So I stayed out that first week, stayed out that second week. I was like 400 or 500 units off, and everyone was leaving. It was just going to be me. Classes were starting, but I'm like, I'm not going home. I'm not freaking going home. So, and I had classes starting that Monday. So, but it was nice. It was all on Zoom. So I kind of made up this routine in my head of like going in the library, going doing my classes and then going out and selling. But I came to learn that the libraries were closed that early in the morning, 7, 8. I couldn't find a library. So I ended up just doing it in the McDonald's parking lot. And I would just get Cinnabon from the gas station next door. That was a pretty good breakfast spot. Probably not the most healthy, eating Cinnabons every freaking day. Still pretty freaking delicious. But it was crazy. That was I stayed out for another week, did decent, counted it up again. I was like, crap, I'm still not there. And I'm staying, going home to my HQ, going home to my family. And it was kind of funny. There was like a high school daughter they would have. I always rip her like wax pen and stuff coming home too, because everyone was gone. It was just me. I was like, fuck it, whatever. Go home and do that. And then I'll go out and sell, go to Cinnabon, go to McDonald's, and did that for another week. And it was kind of crazy. Those last 2 weeks where I was out there just by myself, I had some pretty freaking solid weeks just working half day, 300 units, just because I was like, this sense in my head, I was like, I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. And I was just so committed. And I stayed out pretty much for an extra 4.5 weeks total. Just
oh my God.
2.5 by myself, 2 with the Renegades. I ended up selling like 17 weeks that summer. And yeah, you know, I remember hitting growth, finally adding them up. And I called my mom and I just started crying. I'm like, I freaking did it. I hit growth. You know, it was like only 2,500 units total that summer, but that was probably one of the happier moments out of my Southwestern career, was just like persevering because I was like, this is going to be the week I'm going to hit it. I only got this much units, but I was like, fuck, I forgot about cancellations and whatever and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that was pushing through. That was the craziest, most happiest moment in my career for sure.
Bro, your story is one of perseverance. I mean, we're talking about a kid whose first week you sold 20 units.
4.
Oh no, four. And then it was like 20
and
then 40 and then 40 and then 20. You know, 100, you get told, wow, you're still not performing even though you just doubled your best week. You go and double that best week and you scrape by the chin of your chin, you know, the skin of your chin, you know, and you get to Sizzler. And then you go up and you crush it and you hit growth and you almost hit double growth. The story of that perseverance and of never giving up, dude, that's not many people would have endured. So congratulations.
Yeah. I'm not the best salesman, I can guarantee that, but one thing I always count on is just that work ethic, you know?
Dude. And that's like 90% of the battle. Because people could have everything else and not have any other work ethic, and they would have much, much less production than anything that you've done. And so, you know, than even your worst week. So congratulations. That's crazy, bro. That is a fun, and that's 17 weeks. I can't imagine.
I remember
driving home to Nashville must have been wild.
Yeah, driving back to Nashville, there's only I'm pretty sure Seth was there because their school or something started late. But I was like, all right,
Seth Hood?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was there.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if he stayed out late or just the Forest was behind on their school schedule than us.
I think he did something. Him and Justin Wiebelhaus and Paul did that where they just like stayed out, but they didn't have like the goals that you did. They were just out because they were also graduated, but there was more like, oh, let's just sell, and so they would like sell for like a couple hours a day sometimes, or like half a day, like. But they didn't have like a specific goal they were trying to reach. It was just more like, let's just go and stay because we got nothing else to do. So you were out here like stressing. Yeah, you're out here stressing, trying to make it happen.
Oh yeah, literally every day I would come home and be like, all right, do the math, start adding them up. You know?
But you were taking classes. You're like, damn, that's so crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. That was a wild time.
Oh my God, bro. Congratulations. So fun. Well, hey man, I'm glad that you're killing it. And I know given that trajectory, I can't wait till we'll have to have you back on in like 3 or 4 years when you're like, oh yeah, I'm sponsoring this podcast because I'm crushing it. And
we gotta get our family companies to work together here.
That's how it works, bro. So congratulations. I know that your perseverance and your ability to learn and be coachable is going to make you a very successful human being in the coming years. So man, I appreciate you sharing your time with me. This is the last episode we recorded this year. How'd it go? How do you feel?
Ooh, feeling great, baby.
Let's go.
Now it's time to fly back to Nashville.
That's right. And I got to go to Nebraska for the New Year. So, man, thank you guys so much for listening. My name is Andres Gamboa. This has been the Ponytails Podcast. Season 8 is off to a bang, and we have had some fun already. Thank you so much for catching up with us. Make sure you guys subscribe, like us on Facebook, all that jazz. I haven't said that in a long time, but feel free. Get all those details from Bizzler below. And hopefully we'll see you guys in October. 100 rooms, get me a butt cheek tattoo. So on that note, we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everyone.